Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Trio of Positivity podcast. We appreciate you joining us today. You guys know this is a podcast where we skim the Chicago landscape to bring some positivity into your lives. It has been tough to come lately, but hey, maybe today will be a difference. I'm your host, Boopen, joined by my co hosts, Positive Brigade members. Drum roll, please. Miller and Chris. What's up, boys?
Hey, if you have problems coming, I'm sure we can get that resolved right away too.
Whoa! That was a shot out of the gate.
Not
I
an
heard I heard
advertiser?
come. I heard come. So
Not an advertiser? Hashtag
no,
advertising?
hashtag Blue
No.
Chew, hashtag whatever. Hi everyone, welcome. It's not like this is our second or third attempt at recording stuff.
Why do you always say
Because it's fun.
that?
You
I
know,
want everyone to know that anyone can do this. Anyone can do it, you know?
They
yeah.
just won't be as good as us.
Uh, this show is already off to a great start. I love it. I love it. It's been a couple of days since we hung out together, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually a
please.
trio, isn't that something?
Yeah. The trio is back. We are back with a full episode. We have lots of fun stuff to talk about today. I actually think it will be a fun episode today. Before we get started, quick plug on the socials. You can find us on Facebook under Trio Positivity Podcast, and at Twitter, we are at Trio Positivity. With that being said, in today's episode, boys and girls, we are going to give you our thoughts on Madhouse as Madison. We are calling that the new stop now because Bulls Blackhawks play there. We'll Miller will talk about the NFL trade deadline review. We will cover our fantasy segment, the weekly fantasy segment by yours truly, and close it up with the Bears at Saints look ahead. Saints look ahead. Boys and girls, I'm excited to find some positivity. You guys ready?
Yeah, baby.
As
All
ready as
right.
I think we'll be.
All right, CJ, Chris, let's kick it off.
Who the
You
fuck
tell
is
us
CJ?
Jesus, CJ. Who the
new
fuck is that?
You've been
new
gone for a while, brother.
new producer, right?
Oh, new producer. Yeah.
We have another
By the
producer.
way, I,
We
I figured
fired
we were
Chris's
not going to
ass.
start with that. So I will do a little plug here because we want to thank everyone that has supported the podcast. We are very happy to say that we've reached a milestone that I honestly did not think I would get to with these fuckers. Um, we have over 20 episodes, I think over 30 with the recaps that we've done, and we have we have surpassed 1,000 plays. So to those
Yeehaw!
to those 1,000 listeners or 1,000 listens from our friends and family, we apologize for the headaches that we've given you. We apologize for all the misinformation Miller has given, but we do want to thank you guys for your support. The reviews on Apple and Spotify, they help us out. We've actually seen some growth in the podcast, so wanted to get that out of the way. But I want to take us to the Madhouse on Madison update. We will be giving updates for the Blackhawks, and we'll kind of, it'll be quick. It's kind of just to give you guys a recap, and then if we hear something that somebody wants to say, we're gonna go ahead and get going with that. So the Blackhawks are gonna start first. They're currently 8th in the standings in the western side of the Central Division. They're currently 3-6. After these first couple games, I did find one big positive, and it was that they beat the defending champions in overtime on 10-27. However, that positive went straight down to the shitter because then the following day or the following game, which was on 10:30, they played against the Coyotes and they dropped 8-1, which I have now said that that's the biggest negative so far. However, we knew that this season was going to be a hurdle. We really care about Mr. Bedard. And fun fact, Bedard became the youngest NHL player, according to my notes, to score a goal in the first 30 seconds of a game, and that happens with the Coyotes.
I
Nice,
don't think that's
nice.
accurate. I believe the correct historical stat is he is the youngest player to. He scored
You're
a goal
correcting me and you
earliest than
don't.
everybody else, and he's the youngest.
Okay,
I
so
don't think it has anything to do with 30 seconds. I think he's just the
let-
youngest player to
let
score a
me
goal.
go ahead. See, this is why we have an agenda that I always work so hard in, and these guys struggle with.
I can so be wrong.
Chris,
on that.
your
We
work
are
of the
going to go
agenda.
ahead and say,
No,
according to
truly say-
ESPN stats and info, Bedard is now the youngest player in NHL history to score a goal in the first 30 seconds of a game. Thank you very much. You are incorrect, and we move on because Miller is wrong, and that is.
I'm
the
just
first
trying to
counter.
give you kudos. I'm just trying to give you kudos before I destroy you later in the episode. That's it.
Right.
I do want to say there is some positivity in the air in Chicago. Like people are talking hockey, like general conversations. Like people are bringing up hockey, which is really good to see. I don't think we have had that much like buzz about the Blackhawks since probably they won the cup a couple times. So that's been the positive spirit that I've seen. Thank you for the update, Chris.
Bedard has 6 points on the year, so props to him. He did get the lone goal in the Arizona loss, slaughter, if you will.
Slaughter.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, man.
So moving on to their fellow neighbors, we actually have some basketball news to kind of get into. The Chicago Bulls are now 2-2, and they are on 9th in the Eastern Conference standings. The biggest positive that I was able to find at the moment is that they're currently ranked 3rd in steals.
What an awesome stat to be bragging about.
Yeah.
They
Now,
were 0-2. When they didn't 0-2.
Huh?
They were 0-2, so they've won 2 in a row, I guess.
No, they were 1-1-1.
They were 1. Yeah. So in doing research, because I always work on the agenda, I noticed that the Bulls had allowed over 100 points per game. And that was going to be my biggest negative. But then I actually took notice, and I wanted to ask you guys. It looks like every team in the NBA this early has allowed over 100 points on average. Which is kind of different than what I'm used to seeing in the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, I was always used to seeing games like 80 to 90. And the West was always 110, 120, something along those lines, where the East was really proud of the defense. But I thought that was a nice little tidbit. Miller's shaking his head. I guess you already knew that everyone scored 100 points or something.
Obviously, I know everything.
But
they haven't played defense in this league in probably 5 or 6 years, which is a reason why I've gone away from it.
I figured you'd say that. I figured you'd say that because we are going to be in a very argumentative mood, but please know that we do love each other. You are wrong again. The actual average has gone up over the past 5 years. It was actually in the late 90s or back 90s, so like 97, 98 was the average in the East. So
hey, those were good years.
What did you just say? Can you repeat yourself?
The average points scored. Average points scored in the East was 98. I have to find the link, but I did 5 years ago. The East only averaged about 98 points per game as a whole.
So didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that it's been going up for like the past 5 years?
You're still wrong. Anyway, the more important thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the in-season tournament is going to start. And while I don't really care too much about it, I did see one thing that kind of caught my attention. They actually did a reveal of what the court is going to look like, which I thought the court was just going to be the same. But wanted to get your guys' opinion. That is the court that is going to be done for the in-season tournament at the United Center. I have a positivity score on this.
Okay, can we just take a second?
Yeah.
I thought the in-season tournament was happening in Vegas.
No, that's the finals.
This shit's confusing. Shit's more confusing than the NBA finals. Jesus.
No, it's actually, if you follow soccer, which I thought you did, but obviously, clearly you don't. It's the same. Like you do change the outline. Like so in Europe, when they do the Champions League, they don't have your traditional advisors or not advisors. Their ads on the field or on the tickers. The UEFA has their own that gets placed, and also before the game starts, the UEFA song plays, and there's like the bunch of the soccer with the stars in the middle. So that they're kind of trying to replicate that. There are some other designs out there. wanted to see what you guys actually thought of this and give it a positivity score of how
Is that the
positive.
actual trophy?
That is the actual trophy.
Okay, I'm ready. You want me
Okay.
to start?
Yes, Miller, why don't you go ahead and give us a positivity score?
Ooh, it's cheesy as fuck. Can I have the
Okay.
fucking trophy on there looking like a fucking... Oh, we're going to have it on the each basket and in the middle of the court. Fucking ugly as shit.
Wow.
Hey.
Okay. Boopin.
Wow, that was Miller's hating today.
He's very much hating.
I like it. Like I thought they were like trying to do the NCAA thing, right? The tournament like gets lots of views and stuff like that. I like it. I'll give it a 6. Jeez.
I think Boopin and I are kind of on the same thing. I used to remember back in the day where the Larry O'Brien trophy used to be in the middle for the NBA Finals, and I love that design. So I feel like they kind of brought it back.
I'm not discounting that. I like that. But you're going to have it on both ends of the floor too? You're going to have it
I can see that. I could see that being I can see that
shit.
being a little. I can see that being a little cheesy. The one negative that I have. The one negative that I have is too much red. It's way too much red.
I think that's on purpose, though, right? Like,
I just don't.
See,
like
I don't
too much
mind
red.
that part. I just think it's they have the trophy in 3 fucking places. Like we get it. I'm just trying even the championship. Get over yourself. This tournament still means nothing.
People, I do have a question though. So, is it like another floor laid on top of the current floor, or is it a brand new floor altogether?
It would be a brand new floor altogether
for a game.
I mean, for this much red, I would assume so.
Like, because it goes underneath the ice already. So are they building up another floor that goes
on top of the ice?
On top of the ice.
Your point stands.
Yeah. Like again, it's incredible. Lots of red. I know that's why I was asking too. But interesting.
So
Chris,
with that being said, it's a
score?
6. I think if they brought back a little bit more white, like us, another thing too, the logo is just white for the Bulls. Like,
yeah, that's pretty shitty considering like it's a iconic franchise.
Yeah,
like you're gonna take away the red.
Yeah, that to me is what kind of did not do it for me. So
seems like my 2 scores right on the mark.
Well, the night is young. The night is young.
And the glasses are full.
Yeah. So with that, I'm gonna turn it back to Boopin because that was our update in the Madhouse at Madison.
Yeah, lovely. Looking forward to what that changes mean for NBA, for our experience as fans. They fucking aren't doing much in the regular season, so maybe they'll do something in this tournament. Coming up next, we have Miller talking about the trade deadline, which wasn't as big names moved, but definitely some big movements out there, some big movements out there. Miller, what you got for us?
Yeah, just 2 huge defensive ends get moved, but no big names, guys. No big names were moved. We're good. A 2-time All-Star safety got moved. Nope, we're good. No big names moved, guys. We're good. Let's just move on. Come on, bro. Get with the fucking...
It was not McCaffrey, okay? It was not McCaffrey is what I'm saying. I said it. It's not McCaffrey. We got spoiled after last year.
Kevin Byard is a freaking 2-time All-Star. You're going to sit here and think it's nothing?
Like, McCaffrey's a Hall of Famer. Come talk to me when that
happens. Why don't you go be a 49ers fan? Jesus.
Why is it picking me? I want to show you guys.
Okay. Stop talking, everybody. It's Miller's turn here. All right. So we have some big news on the trade front, including our favorite Chicago Bears getting their own defensive end in a trade. We're going to save that segment for last because it's going to be a beautiful discussion that I am excited for. Yes. But some other big news that happened on the trade deadline, at least the biggest ones probably coming with our team up north with the Vikings. They got a trade for Dobbs out of Arizona. So they got that quarterback that may lead their team. We don't know yet because the rookie is going to be starting this week, but he could be their quarterback for the foreseeable future. Pair him with JJ and Addison, and damn, I'm scared. But a little confusing because they traded away their best offensive lineman in Ezra Cleveland. So he got traded to the Jaguars. So they brought in a quarterback and traded a good lineman. So who knows what the fucking Vikings are doing? They're being the Vikings, apparently. Packers surprised a lot of people, including their fans, by sending off Rasul Douglas to the Bills. They kind of did they got Douglas and a fifth and got a third back. So they kind of did a swap there. The Lions, the big teams in the North, they got Donovan People-Jones. He is going to be another wide receiver for that team. Other than that, there was some other pieces floated in there. Like I mentioned earlier, the Eagles got Kevin, I think it's Baird. He's a safety, but that was early. Seattle got Leonard Williams. That was, I believe, a day before the deadline. So that was a big trade with the Giants. So despite the moronic statement of saying that nobody big got moved, there were quite a few big name players that did get moved on the defensive end. Now on the offensive front, his point could stand. We hypothesized about maybe some running backs getting moved, some wide receivers getting moves. None of that really happened, which was a little surprising. Denver, I feel like they dropped the ball. I don't know if they got all cocky because they beat the Chiefs one time, but they didn't make any moves at all. So they're sticking with their guns, which is a little weird. But I want your opinion. Again, we're going to be covering the big moves out of Washington in a second. But I want your opinion on who do you feel like is the biggest loser from this trade deadline? For me, I feel like it's the Detroit Lions. Yes, they got another wide receiver, but I don't think that was their biggest need. I feel like they needed another defensive line help to go with Hutchinson. And you look at the Eagles, you look at Seattle, and you look at the Niners, they all improved, but the Lions didn't. So what about you guys? What do you think is the biggest loser from this trade deadline?
I would say Denver. You brought it up. I would like to think they're not going anywhere this season, and they have talent all over the roster, especially on the offensive side. I thought some of those pieces would be moved. They gave away a ton of picks to get Russell Wilson too. I thought that would be a good way for them to recoup some of their picks. So them not doing anything. They did move a couple of people before, I think, a couple of weeks prior on the defensive side, but I don't think any big names, especially on the offensive side. I definitely think they're losers, in my opinion.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the Commanders are going to be a interesting team to watch the next couple years. But it does look like they're kind of setting up for the next coach or the next GM to be
Let's
prepared.
talk
So I would
about the
say,
team we haven't talked about. Thanks. Appreciate that. There's fucking
I mean-
31 other teams that you could talk about, but yeah, sure, let's talk about them.
I mean, it's true though. They made the most deals. They obviously
I don't think
made
they're the
one with.
losers. They got good draft capital back.
I think they got good draft capital, but at the start of the season, that they had some decent expectations. I wouldn't say they had high expectations, but they had decent expectations.
Okay, you can stop talking now.
With the new
let's
owners,
talk
are you
about-
kidding me?
They did not.
Jesus.
Who's their
Miller's on
quarterback, Chris?
fire today.
Who's
They've sold
Who's their
more tickets.
quarterback?
They've sold more tickets this year than
Who's
the
their
previous year.
quarterback?
Doesn't
Sam
fucking matter.
Howell.
I'm not a Commanders fan.
Okay, exactly. They have no. You didn't know their quarterback's name. They did not.
Who's
have
their kicker?
expectations. Oh, I should know this. It was Cairo a few years.
Oh,
ago,
it's
but-
not. So fuck you. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Keep
you
going.
don't
though.
know either. But like, they did not have very high expectations. They were projected to be the worst in the division. But let's fast forward to where we are today and what happened. Like I mentioned, or like Chris mentioned, the Commanders made some moves. So in the offseason, if you remember Darren Payne, he was a big free agent coming out of Washington. He was a highly sought after in the offseason. They did manage to sign him back on the line. But with that being said, that left two guys, Martez Sweat and Chase Young, unsigned on that Studley Young defensive line. So what they did, those two guys were on expiring contracts, so they proceeded to trade them off. Chase Young going to the 49ers for a conditional third-round pick, and Sweat coming to your Chicago Bears. So we got two of those guys. So Washington kind of got rid of both of them. It was a little surprised that they got rid of both of them, but they knew that at least one was going because we figured that they wouldn't be able to pay both of them. So they were able to spin those off for draft picks, kind of resetting like Chris did talk about with the new ownership, trying to do a little bit of a reset there. But you're so wrong. It's just a stupid point. They didn't have expectations.
You just repeated the point. Oh, God.
They didn't have
keep going.
expectations. But
Hold on, my ears are bleeding because of how wrong you are. But go ahead, keep going.
So the big names, both of those were moved. So boys, the Bears got Montez Sweat, defensive end for the Commanders. How you feeling?
Wait, we are actually going to talk about this now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not following the agenda, but okay.
We are following the agenda. I literally told you before that we're going to start with the trade, and then we're going to end with the Bears trade.
Actually,
Hey,
I
Chris
kind of
cares a lot about the agenda, Miller.
Yeah,
okay?
that's not. You don't even work on the agenda, Miller. But no. But see, before honestly, I do want to hear your opinion first because we always mention.
Okay,
this
let's
in
do
previous
something different. Let's
podcasts.
do something different. Let's do
Yeah.
something different. I don't think we're all cocky pieces of shit, so I don't think this is gonna matter. But everybody give a positivity score on the trade. As it stands right now, no extension. I'll start. I'm gonna give it a 6.
I was thinking a 6 too.
I was thinking 7.
You're giving it a 7?
I'm kind of giving it a 7. Yeah.
Okay. I thought we were gonna disagree on this. I guess we might be agreeing.
Okay. Let me get this piece out because I think this is where a lot of us in the chat group that we have is valuing the draft pick that was given. And I think we had this discussion. Actually, we had this discussion when we were talking about Claypool, but before we started a podcast, didn't we? We talked about what polls is valuing a number 2 pick, and we were all over the place. And we all said that if this is a bust, which turned out to be a bust, I thought, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because most of the time I'm not, but I thought we all said that because we had the extra 2, and polls didn't necessarily need to do anything with it at that moment because obviously the second draft pick gets paid more, blah, 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 that we would have been okay since it was a quote unquote project. Am I correct in that?
I don't remember necessarily.
Okay. So
I know I for one can speak for myself. I don't like talking about this trade because it was a disaster, but I did support it at the time because the theory was we weren't going to get a wide receiver most likely in the draft. The draft wide receivers weren't elite, so we took a chance here. I supported it. Obviously fell flat in its face because of things that we don't know everything that went behind it. But with this move, although I gave it a 6, I am very excited about it. We've been hearing a lot of good things. The issue with it is when you compare the Montez Sweat trade with the Chase Young trade. The Chase Young trade went for a conditional 3rd, and the Montez Sweat went for a top 2nd, right? Because right now the Bears are projected to have the 35th pick as their 2nd, so it's a top 2nd. So that's almost 2 rounds of difference in talent. So that is the concern that has been talked about throughout Chicagoland in these last 2 days. Now I want to throw some things out here to kind of settle our listeners because there is that drastic thing, and realistically, a lot of the talk was about Chase Young, not Montez Sweat, which was kind of interesting. I think that has a lot to do with the name and Chase Young being the number 2 overall pick a few years ago. But just keep in mind that Chase Young hasn't played a full season since his rookie year, and he's on an expiring contract. He tore his ACL in 2021, and he played 3 games last year. I don't believe he got a sack. So he has about 5 sacks this year, so he's kind of bouncing back, but he does not have knees. He has a torn ACL in one, and I think his meniscus got took out in the other. So he does not have knees. So when you're evaluating picks, like I think Chris was getting to, one stat that came out that has been talking is the success rate of a 2nd round pick, specifically a top 10, top 5 in that 2nd round. So basically, it was determined by Bears staff as well as other executives. It's come out that they give it about a 40% chance of drafting a good player with that pick. So whether you like it or not, what Poles is doing is he's seeing that and he's saying, if I can trade this and get a good player out of the gate, then I negate that additional 60%. So that's what he's doing. Whether it's right or wrong, whether you agree with it or not, that's the kind of the logic behind that. Now, it obviously backfired horribly with Chase Claypool, but there's one note. The other note is the response out of Washington. I was listening to some radio shows, specifically ones in the Washington area, and many of the fans before Chase Young got traded were calling in and complaining about the fact that they got rid of Sweat rather than Young, which I thought was kind of beneficial to us. Multiple people called in and said, I don't understand this trade. Why are we getting rid of Sweat? And then you have multiple people within the organization praise the guy. We did not experience that with Chase. It was like immediately out of the gate, they came out and just started attacking him, Pittsburgh, and saying how poor he was and blah, blah, blah. So I think that changes a few things. I'll let you guys interject with any of your opinions as well.
Boobin, you want to kind of get some points in here?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was a long monologue. If I forgot what I want to say, I play mute.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been now appointed the Miller log. You're welcome.
I have like 3 more points. I can still keep going. I was prepared for
no,
battle.
but, hey,
apparently I'm not gonna get one.
Can we mute him for a minute? But here's what I've heard, right? Miller, what you said, I concur with that a lot. But what I've heard is the draft difference. There's 2 things in play. One, there's a very good chance 49ers will not sign Young. They cannot, I think, like cap space wise afford to. They already have invested a lot on the defense. That was one. The other thing is just the player he is. He's supposedly doesn't follow the system very well. Tries to make hero plays a lot. So like he does, instead of trying to do what he does and the other people playing around him, he tries to go out and make that hero play a lot. And so that's why he was a liability at times. I'm not saying discounting who he is, what his talent is, but his knock was versus Sweat was he's not a systems guy, doesn't do what the team wants him to do, tries to make hero plays, was the only 2 things why I think the draft picks were like slightly different, in my opinion. And there's a lot of conversations that happen during these trades, right? We are not privy to most of them, but I would like to think that Pace, in some level, probably understands
Polls,
Ryan guy. In some level knows that he will resign. That's why he gave a high pick. But again, my positivity 6, just to justify it, was more about Jalen Johnson too. The fact that we didn't trade him, and with Sweat coming back, maybe we can show him that we're investing in this defense and we're going to be better. That was my positive rating of 6 there too. I rest my case.
So I just want to clarify something. You're giving a positivity score of a 6 because we didn't trade someone else.
I'm giving that because what it represents, right?
So then in general though, what of the actual move of the trade, what score do you give it?
I still give it a 6.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that part.
What I'm saying is the way we felt about the team, right? The defense, like we shocked whatever that guy is, the kicker guy. He was shocked that we made a move, even though it was rumored that we would make a move. But he was like, interesting move from the Bears, like, because again, we're bottom of the pack. We're not expected to do that.
Matt McAfee, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, Matt McAfee. But yeah, that guy was shocked that we made a move, and it was a shocking move. We're like we're the worst team in NFC North right now, and then we made a move. But I'm hoping it's forward thinking. It's like Miller said, in free agency, we would not get this level of talent for a 2nd round pick. So it's slightly a gamble, especially if it doesn't re-sign. It looks really bad. But for now, I feel positive about this move.
So I'm giving it a 7. And the only reason I'm giving it a 7 is because I believe that the re-sign will happen. If the re-sign doesn't happen, and I know Miller, we were talking about not doing the trade, and that is really what's going to be very important
at this moment.
But I honestly agree with Boopin, where I think there must have been some kind of communication or some discussion of saying like, hey, this is what we're going to build in Chicago. Do you want to be a part of it? And if so, we can talk numbers.
Okay.
Now, that's the only reason that I'm giving it a 7 is because I believe a second round pick in guaranteed money we could probably be getting the same value if we resign. So that's the only reason I'm giving.
Money. You don't have to worry
Well,
about money. We have
we
$100.
kind of do.
100 million.
We have a high
We have
cap,
100
but
million.
we kind of do have to worry about
I
it.
don't like that is in stipulation of the extension, because if it was in stipulation of the extension, I would have given it an 8 minimum, maybe even a 9.
That's 5 for me.
If he gets extended,
If he
you
doesn't
go
get
down
extended,
to a 5.
if he doesn't, it goes down. If I would
Well,
still
I know,
stay a
but
7
what I'm
if he
saying
gets it.
is this moment, there's no extension on the table. There's the thought process that it could happen, but there is none. So I would have it at a 6. If he does get extended, it immediately becomes an 8 or 9 for me. I
Awesome.
don't like your point with Jalen Johnson, to be honest, because a few things here that we could have got into later, but might as well just get it in now. Jalen, first, there was a few reports that came out after he was been talking about his contract, basically stating that he didn't want to discuss contracts till the end of the year. And then there was a subsequent report that came out that said that he wanted to be the first one to get paid because he didn't expect the trade. So it's interesting that Jalen Johnson situation, because he didn't get traded. That was a big one. He came out, he had a presser today talking about things. I really hope he gets traded because I do think that having a stud corner will help. But I don't know. He might have dug his hole too deep. It's just interesting. Poles did come out and say that he values Jalen. He wanted at least a end of the first or early second for him. So obviously he's valued, but it's just a matter of will he be valued enough.
Do you guys feel that value is fair though? Because he was given the opportunity to find a trade partner, and that didn't happen either. So I don't agree with that standpoint.
It did happen. It just didn't meet Poles' requirements.
Right.
There's a
so
difference.
So this is the Jim Irsay argument all over again.
No. It's more calculated than that. Do you guys remember Lamar Jackson? Like, he was given permission to seek trade in the offseason too. I think like a lot of these players are like, I need $20 million. Who wouldn't want $20 million? We all would benefit from $20 million. But once they start talking to teams, figure out what they are paying, what's the going rate is, they get a good wake up call, as to what the real value is, right? And that's why I think he'll take up, because that's what Lamar did. He got paid. He made decent money. He might not have been the highest paid quarterback, but he got paid. I think that's what's going to end up happening with Jalen. He's here. He knows the system. The defense looks like it'll be better the back half of the year than it was the front half of the year, and that solves a lot of things. I hope he resigns for that reason.
I don't necessarily agree with that stance though, because if you are a player and you value yourself as a $20 million guy, the team has to come back and say, well, if you want 20 million, we want, I don't know. Again, this is not for real. I'm just saying, to make a point. Well, we want a first and a third on, with no protections, right? If a team is going to give that for him and he's negotiating it himself, they're going to do it. You're going to do the trade. What my argument is he was given that opportunity. Poles flat out said, I want a late first rounder or a second, whether it's this upcoming draft or the following. He wasn't traded. So in my mind, in my easygoing head, is he didn't get what Poles' value was. And hence, he was not traded.
I kind of feel like it was a shitty move by Poles, because I feel like he granted him the trade, but then after the fact, it came out that basically the Bears valued him too high. So it's like he was trying to be all courteous to him, where the realization being that he knew he wasn't going to trade him because no one was going to be willing to pony it up. So it's almost like
I think that's a smart move.
It was kind of almost, I mean, it's smart for Poles, but it's also disrespectful for Jalen, because he never really had a chance.
Okay, you give Jim Irsay the benefit of being a good businessman, but freaking Poles get freaking shit on.
About this?
Because you call him a freaking genius.
I value him. Oh my God.
How is this any different?
How is this any different?
How is this any different?
Because he doesn't,
Oh, yes,
so you're
please.
comparing him paying a running back to Ryan Poles basically negatively negotiating with Jalen Johnson's life.
It's the same concept, though.
It's not. It's paying a position. Like he's in negotiation with a position.
No,
I
no,
still
no, no.
haven't
You're
heard an
looking at it
argument.
like that.
No, Chris, hang on. I still
Okay.
haven't heard an argument back. He's just fucking stating the facts again.
Well, no, he's giving
Tell
an
me
argument
why.
back, but he's not
I
following
don't
the
understand
premise.
the correlation, to be honest.
He
The issue was Jonathan Taylor wanted more money. Irsay did not want to give him more money.
Irsay
He said,
"Find me a trade."
You can get traded.
But
that was never
"Find
my
me
issue.
a trade."
That was never my issue. This conversation revolved around paying running backs. It never revolved around his ethical responsibility of finding a trade partner. We never discussed trades with Jonathan Taylor. It was strictly on I supported Irsay's stance and not paying running backs. So I don't know why this is being brought up.
Boopin needs to move on to his segment, but I just want to ask one question.
This is not over.
I want to ask one question. I just want to ask one question.
I have more stats.
Well, hold on. We're already at 36 minutes. I have one question to just ask. If Taylor found a trade partner that was willing to pay him what he wanted, and the Colts got what they wanted, would there have been any other issues? Essentially, Irsay got the picks he wanted. Taylor got paid what he wanted.
Again, we never discussed trades.
I am
about
not.
this
I'm.
So I don't know why we're bringing this up and rehashing this again.
It's a legit question though. If a trade had occurred because Taylor got paid and Irsay got what he wanted, would that have been the fair thing to have? Like, is that not both parties being happy?
It is.
So then why would it's the same exact thing except as a
it's
player
not.
at a different position. That's it.
Okay, you're right. Yes, it is. But it came out after the fact that basically what Poles was asking for was above his value.
That's the same thing Irsay did. Irsay said they need a first round back for Jonathan
smart
Taylor.
As well.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
That's it.
We
got the soundbite.
The great part about it. I mean, I never disputed the trade aspect of Jim Irsay. I was just specifically supporting the fact that he didn't want to pay the guy.
Right.
No,
I understand that part, but I'm just saying the whole story was he also had the opportunity to find his deal. That's all I was trying to say. That's it.
Yeah, me too. I said it's the same circumstance.
Fist bump.
Whatever. But back to the point at hand, because this is a stupid tangent. Montez Sweat, a few things we want to touch on because Chris didn't touch on the article that he literally put out there, but I'll cover it since I kind of read it. The media has come out bashing this trade for a few reasons. One of the reasons is it's unexpected because the Bears are bottom feeders and his contract is expiring at the end of the year. That's one. The second one is again giving up a second round pick. So let me start with number one. Number one, we are bottom feeders of the league. Yes. But I think that, as Boopin stated, it's a future looking thing that we're going to do. If Montez Sweat does not get extended, this trade is worse than the Claypool trade. I will be on point to say that right now. But I believe in the next probably 24 to 48 hours, he will get signed to an extension. I do think that's going to happen. But
is that allowed? Is that allowed during that time? I don't remember if that was allowed.
Yes, it can happen at any time. Jalen just came out and said he wasn't going to talk until the end of the season, but it can happen, I believe, at any time because there was just a signing with somebody.
The thing that I wanted to kind of like go over was this part here.
You just interrupted my number 2.
Oh my God. Fine. Keep going.
I don't remember what my number 2 was.
Of course. Anyways, the thing that I didn't like about the Walder.
Stop talking. What is it? My number 2?
Second round pick was too high for him.
Oh, well, if you want to help him, he's not making.
I don't think that was my number 2. Was it?
So you know how in a football game they track how much time of possession is? If they do this for this podcast, it'll be Miller 30 minutes.
One of the biggest fucking moves that we've made, man. He is a good defensive end. He is rated 3rd overall by PFF as a run defender in the NFL for defensive ends. Hit this stat before we move on. One of 7 players to record 5+ sacks in the last 5 seasons. Do you want
Miller's
to hear the other
possession just
6?
no, his possession just went up. He's 82% now.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Khalil Mack, Max Crosby, and Brian Burns. He's got
Nice.
6.5 sacks this year. Expect double digits with the Bears. It's a good move. I'm excited. Get this extension done so I can give this trade a 9. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Me too. This is a great trade. Like again, unexpected. Let's get him signed. Future looking move. I love it. Well, to bring the possession back to me and Chris, I'm going to take over the podcast and we're going to talk about Boo Pens. Don't stop believing fantasy corner. I got to say that because this is the middle of the season, right? Some teams are probably on their way and they don't care, but middle of the pack, bottom of the pack teams, come on, don't stop believing. You can do it. Hang in there. To help you with that, just wanted to flag some big injuries for you. Have some new starters as well that I want to talk about. First off, Darren Waller, tight end from the Giants. His injury might be significant. Keep an eye out for that. He may be out multiple weeks. Jonathan Taylor, who famously got paid. Miller hates it, but he supposedly has a knee injury. He dominated the first half, had only one carry in the second half. So keep an eye out for that. Zach Moss might be having a bigger role in the next couple of games coming up. Kenneth Walker, the starting running back from the Seattle Seahawks, there's an nagging soft tissue injury that he's working through. Those are pretty bad for wide receiver and running backs. Zach Charbonnet, keep him in the radar too. Couple of new starters. Miller hinted at this. Jaron Hall is starting for Minnesota. Dobbs isn't this week. Taylor Heineke is starting for Atlanta, and Aiden O'Connell is starting for the Raiders. Couple of weird fan injury news. Watson Pickett and Daniel Jones are all back to practice, so all signs good there. Some shady quarterback situations to keep an eye on. The Cardinals, God knows who's going to start. Could be the rookie, could be Kyler. Rams, Stafford has an injury, supposedly is day to day. I was going to throw the Bears in there, but we know who's going to start for the Bears there. But that's what it is. Some concern there. Proceed with cautions, but had a question for you guys if you guys are willing to play. Um, can you the number of starting quarterbacks this season who's played meaningful snaps so far? Okay, there's a number
Oh
there.
God.
It's what do you think is the number of starting quarterbacks that's played meaningful snaps for an NFL team this year so far? Give me a number. I'll say over under, and the second person can guess. Number of starting quarterbacks that have played meaningful snaps for an NFL team
The fuck does that
this
even
year
mean?
so
So
far.
I
you're gonna
am.
be okay.
How are we figuring this
Can't
out?
you just say 200 snaps or something? Fuck. 22.
Per
There's
game or
32
for the
teams.
season?
I
There's
know.
32 teams.
22.
So each team had less than one quarterback start.
That's not what I understood the question to be.
Okay.
What?
How many quarterbacks have played? All right, let's just say played for an NFL team. So there's been injuries everywhere, right?
Oh,
So
how
you're
many?
sa- You're
Okay,
saying how many quarterbacks have played in the league
have
this
started
year?
in the game? Have started
Yeah.
in a game?
No, not started. Played in a game.
Played meaningful snaps, like Miller said, a good number of snaps in the
Oh.
game. Not
Oh my
kneel
God.
downs and none of that. Just to give
54,
higher
68.
65. Already through week 8. That's what I wanted to say. It's devastating quarterback situation is what I wanted to point out. Sorry if that was not clear. But since we're in the midpoint season, boys.
He
Sorry,
wanted
I'll
more
do
time
it
on the mic. He wanted more time on the mic. This is what happened.
I do. Come back to me. Okay. Since it's the midpoint ish season, a point of the season, I kind of wanted to pull the quarterbacks too, and just kind of give you guys an idea of who's in the top 10 in the quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and tight end room. Miller, freaking Chris is giving away my secrets, but in 4 points, touchdown points per game. Here's the order of quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, number 2, Herbert 3, Jackson 4, Mahomes is 5, Tua is 6, Kirk Cousins is 7, Howell is 8 from Washington Commanders, the one Chris couldn't name. Justin Fields is 9, and Jared Goff is 10. You know what I learned from all that, boys? If your first name starts with a J, there's a good chance you're a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. That's what I learned.
True.
But any names surprising to you guys? Any names you don't think will like probably stay there, will fall off the rest of the year? Any notes on your end?
Well, Justin Fields will fall off. That's pretty much for sure. Sam Howell will probably fall off. The two
Ah,
names on there and Kirk Cousins are gonna fall off. So you know what? This list is gonna change quite a bit in the next few weeks.
yeah, couple of names to keep an eye out there if you guys are needed of a quarterback. Dak, Burrow, and Kyler who are not on the list. I feel like will finish the season more strong and they'll make it to the top 10. Like Miller said, a couple of people will likely fall off.
I don't think
Uh,
Kyler's making it, bro.
just a hunch here. In terms
He
of
got
wide
like
receiver,
7 games.
I said what I said. Tyreek Hill, this is per game average though, like so. If he has a good couple games, I feel like he could
Oh,
be
it's I
there.
thought it. Oh, I thought it was
It's
the
points
most
per game.
touchdowns
Someone's
in the
not paying
league.
attention because they didn't work on the agenda. So, but continue.
This wasn't done when I did the agenda for the record.
We are all taking shots at each other, but you know who's taking good shots at the wide receiver position? Tyreek Hill. He's
What a
like 3 points,
transition. Okay, buddy, I see you.
3 points above Brown, who's number 2. He's just been on fire this season. Number 2 is AJ Brown. Justin Jefferson, who's out a couple of weeks, still is in number 3. Diggs at 4. Keenan Allen, who's had ups and downs, is at number 5. Chase is at number 6. Thielen, surprising, at number 7. St. Brown, Lions, number 8. CD is number 9. And Miller's favorite player, Pupa Nakua, I hope that's how you say his name, is at number 10. Again, Thielen being there was surprising to me, but the Nakua, right? Rookie there, incredible, but that's the list. Again, any names you think will come into this list, any names you don't think will sustain this the rest of the year, feel free to chime in now.
Thielen and Puka. Bye
I
bye.
could see Diggs probably going down.
Diggs.
Yeah,
God, no wonder your fantasy team sucks.
better than yours. Did you even? Oh, keep going. I don't want to.
Actually, it's not.
I don't want to keep giving Miller more time.
I'm
of possession.
2-0
Go ahead.
in my last 2 games in my defeated team, so I'm 2-6 or whatever.
Similarly, on running back front, McCaffrey is like probably clear of everybody. Kamara, surprising number 2. ETN, who's been a freaking stud, is at number 3. Mostert is at 4. Kyron Williams, Miller 0, who's hurt right now, is at number 5. Moss, surprisingly, number 6. Montgomery, my hero, is at number 7. Kenneth Walker, number 8. Barkley, number 9. Eckler, who's been out a while, is at number 10. Lots of big names missing there. Derrick Henry, who we're used to seeing there. Achan, who's just like been on fire whenever he's been on the field. Brees Hall injured. He's coming back, I feel like. And Jameer Gibbs was missing, but again, pretty amazing list there too. Kind of gives
I
me
want
an idea.
one thing here. I think David Montgomery is going to fall on this list. I think Jameer Gibbs had his coming out party this last week, and I think that the fans have gotten to the point where they're not going to let David take the majority of the snaps anymore. I think they want to
Okay.
see this rookie play, and I think he's going to start taking over shares similar to what Brees did to Dalvin in New York. Basically, it's going to get to the point where they're not going to deal with his bullshit anymore.
I see your point, Miller, but if they keep winning, I feel like this trend would continue. But no, exciting things to look into. The tight end landscape, the first 3 names are pretty normal: Kelsey, Andrews, and Hawkinson. The rest of the list is anybody's guess. You guys will probably see a familiar name at number 6. Laporta from the Lions is number 4. Kittle is number 5 from the 49ers. Cole Kmet coming at number 6. Logan Thomas, the freaking corpse of Logan Thomas, is still playing tight end, and he's at number 7. Ingram is at 8. Goddard is at 9. Waller is at 10. Again, a couple of big names to keep a eye out for that would probably make the list the rest of the year. Kincaid, I think, is on the rise. Ferguson on Dallas is on the rise, and McBride on the Cardinals, I think, will be on the rise as well. But yeah, like we are in the midpoint of the season, just trying to point out who's doing well and who you can keep an eye out for the rest of the season here.
That was very informative. Thank you, buddy.
You got it.
Okay, host.
I love doing this. I love doing this. All right. We will move on to the Bears part of this program. People have their pitchforks ready. I heard there's going to be some debates and discussions. I will likely be a moderator at all of that, but
No, we already did
No, I
that.
think we're in the same page here. We might
Yeah.
be. I'm kind of vibing something, but I think I'm gonna say what I think it is. But you want to segue us in there, Boopin?
yeah. So we Bears, like had a press conference. Miller's referenced a couple point. It was supposed to be Montez Sweat Day in Chicago. We are supposed to talk about him coming here, what that means, and maybe if we overpaid, underpaid, what his role's gonna be, blah 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 blah. But I think Flus took a total of 3 questions on that, and most of them, the press conference, he had to focus on the running back coach that we got rid of, David Walker. This is concerning. This should be concerning to Chicago fans because this is the second coach we've lost this season, and Flus was a big part of bringing this
Hey,
coaching staff
Boobin,
in.
can you explain what happened?
Yes, absolutely. I was hoping you guys would jump in and do that. I was going to set you guys up, but I'm happy to. So Flus and the team, president and Pulse, all decided that due to behavior issues, our running back coach David Walker would no longer be with the team. They didn't go into specifics what the behavior concerns were, but they made a point to say that it was not a culture fit, and for the greater good, for the team safety, whatever, they had to get rid of him. Was the idea? I was gonna correlate that to our surprising letting go of our old defensive coordinator. Culture has been a word that's been thrown around a lot. It was brought up when we didn't draft Jalen Carter, who's doing great things, and Eagle in that great O line. So just that word culture, and maybe talk about Flus a little bit, right? What do you guys think about? He brought this thing here, like this team together, and there's like 2 solid pieces of this team have been let go the rest of the year. What do you guys think about this move in general, or the culture he has in Chicago?
I like how you steal my
So,
one-liner and then you ask me what I think. I
well,
appreciate that.
hold on,
Thank you.
because no one follows the agenda that I work so hard in. I wanted
That's
to
because you don't
start.
know how to make the agenda.
I wanted to start by giving a statement regarding what happened, and then lead to something. But we're almost at an hour already, and so
We're at 53 minutes. Just talk.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I didn't catch the full press conference. But there's 2 things that I did not like. Obviously, we kind of talked about it, and I kind of want to reference it here in the article. Um, the Chicago media kind of did a good job of asking some questions to kind of see where everything was at. There was a couple points where the coach was basically saying, like, with 2 coaches evaluated and vetted now not meeting the standard, like what's the whole point of that? Flus then kind of says, I would say the responsibility is there because I'm the head football coach. I would also say that the standard has to be met, right? And when it's not met, you make the decision. We did that. Okay. Fair enough. You think that he was not good for the culture, right? But then this is what pissed me off. The question came and it says in this article by NBC Sports Chicago, so I'm not entirely sure if this question may have been brought up. It says Eberflus prides himself on the culture he is creating in Chicago. Despite the staff turmoil and his misevaluation of Walker and Williams, Eberflus maintains the culture is rock solid. He's quoted saying, absolutely not, absolutely not. If the Bears have a culture problem, the culture in our building is outstanding. If it was outstanding, why did you feel the need to fire the guy? That to me is a big key indicator that Flus will not be here next year. This also means to me that he's losing the locker room, and while everyone's trying to put up that brave face that stuff is not, happening, or we're trying to keep things in house, you don't say that you had a guy that was not good for the culture or that was not a benefit to the team, and then all of a sudden say, "Yeah, our culture is still rock solid. We have a great
What are you supposed to
foundation."
say?
You
Come
don't
on.
say that. You
Yes, you
don't
do.
say
That's
that.
what you do when you're a head coach.
No, you
You
do not.
feed the bullshit. That's what you do. You
Okay.
can't sit out there and
Okay.
say the culture is awful. I need to work
I
on it. Yeah,
I
because you're gonna
know
get fired next week. It's
I
like
know
you
we're
have to
going
feed the
long.
bullshit. He's
I know we're
fighting for
going.
his job.
I want to take possession back. Shut up, Miller. Um. Okay, Chris. I'll ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
There's two ways to handle this, right? One, like the whole Gruden thing in Vegas, right? These things were happening. You may have known about it, not known about it. Then it comes out in media, and then you take action, right? That's option one. Option two is this, where maybe what's happening. We didn't hear what happened with the defensive coordinator. There are some rumors. Same thing here, behavioral issues. You don't know what's going on, right? I think there was a no-win situation for the Bears. If it had come out in the media, they would have looked bad. What a shitty organization! They don't know what they're doing. It came out now. They reacted appropriately, or they did the right thing, let's say, and they still look bad, right? It's not a winning situation. When you were first talking, wanted to like bash the coach and be like, "You take ownership. This is your problem. You fix it." But like, the more you were talking, I was thinking like, what else could he have done? Like, reminds me of like some of
That's a
the.
valid point. So I just want to bring this up, and then we'll finally hand the ball off to Miller because you can see he's seething over there.
I don't really have much.
Well, this is the statement that the Raiders gave regarding the firing of McDaniels. After much thought about what the Raiders need to move forward, I have decided to part ways with Josh and Dave. I want to thank them both for their hard work and wish them and their families nothing but the best. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Like there's don't bring up anything regarding the culture and saying,
They
well, this
did it.
guy.
He didn't. The
It's-
freaking media did, dude.
It's
Come
still
on.
the same thing. If you're like, listen, it's not the culture. He just wasn't doing what we needed him to do. And if they ask what it was, hey, we're keeping that internal. That's it.
Dude, you're so naive. Come on, look at this. The media has been grilling them for months because all this team has done is lose. He's like, what, 5-20 with his tenure with the Bears? Like, all he's done is lose. The culture is affected by losing. Not only that, is you now have the second coach fired for whatever it's behavior issues or HR issues. And all this guy done is preached culture. Of course that word's going to come up. You can't sit here and he knows his job's on the line. Like, come on. He's 5-20. Who wouldn't? You can't sit there as a head coach and say the culture sucks. We're going to get better from here. Like, come on. That's just stupid. He's got to feed the bullshit. He's got to play the game.
Also, when I said Vegas, I was actually referring to Gruden, like what 3 years ago. The whole
but
scandal.
That's a scandal that was eventually leaked. That's different.
I think in my head, like the way these things are coming out in succession, that's how I'm picturing it. Is something behind the scene that's problematic. That's probably not going to look good. And then they're just getting in front of it. It was my idea of how they're dealing with it, but I could be totally wrong. I'm just speculating here.
My thing, and then we'll transition to what actually matters, which is Bears Saints here. My thing is, your job's on the line. Miller just said losing creates a bad culture too. You're 5-20. You've lost more than other teams combined. Whatever you want to say to make the stat look worse, because that's what sometimes
worst coach in Chicago Bears history.
There you go. I didn't want to go that far, but thank you very much, Miller. And you're telling me, yeah, the culture's great. We're having a fucking blast in there.
Dude.
Miller,
He
do I need
cannot
to
say
read
that.
what he said? Do I need to read what he
What are you
says?
supposed to say?
Our
Chris,
cul-
Chris,
Do
he
you not
said,
listen to
he
coaches and
said,
GMs speak?
quote unquote. He says, quote unquote, our culture is awesome. That's literally what he's quoted
What is
saying
he supposed
right
to
there.
say?
Our culture is
Okay.
awesome. You're
Chris,
fucking
question for you.
5-20.
Oh my
Chris,
god.
question for you. If
Yeah.
you were in his place, what would you say?
Nothing. You're
You
5-20.
can't do that. You're at the
You're
fucking
5-20.
podium.
Hey,
Okay, you gotta pull up
How do
Bill
you-
Belichick.
fuck, that's what
We're on
exactly
to-
what I was gonna say. Bill Belichick can literally sit there and be like, "Yeah, Taylor Swift, she
He
fucking
doesn't have
performed
enough
in the
money
rain.
to be fined as
Taylor
much
Swift
as Bill
performed in the rain. She
Belichick
did
does.
amazing. How do you know Taylor Swift? Fuck you. Don't ask me how I know Taylor Swift. Next question. That's basically what he does. You can be a coach and fucking the coach for Pittsburgh. He has that like we're keeping it in house. He never leaked anything about Antonio Brown or nothing that happened with that team. And there were reports after the fact that Antonio Brown was a shit show. You're telling me the Bears are not capable of doing that?
You're talking about good coaches. You realize that,
Also
Thank
right?
you.
good-
That's all I was trying to say.
good-
Good coaches
also
don't
good
say bad
ownership,
shit. Good coaches keep their
good
fucking mouth shut.
Good stable ownership. Like, they've been like the whatever Rooney's have been very freaking pillars of NFL for a while. But talking about football, let's preview the Bears matchup in Week 9. The Bears are taking on the Saints. The line is New Orleans minus 8.5. Jesus Christ. Over under is 41.5. Saints 4-4, tied for division lead, are coming off a 38-27 win in Indy. Are taking on the Bears, who are 2-6, worse in the division, after a primetime loss to the Chargers 30-13. Tyson Bagent, Miller's favorite player, came back to earth after an incredible debut win at home against the Raiders. Now, here's we can talk about a couple of different things. I want to throw to you guys. What are you looking for this week, right? Last week was a freaking, we got embarrassed on national TV, even though we expected it. It was still hard to see them lose. What are you expecting happens this Sunday? Chris.
I didn't want to go first. I wanted to say, what am I expecting? I'm expecting Eberflus to be fired after next week.
The same fucking thing. That's what I'm expecting. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know. I'm just.
Well,
I'm
I think
not-
we talked about it a little bit too, Miller, in our live stream, which sadly we couldn't upload due to internal shit that I couldn't figure out. Or sorry, the producer couldn't figure out.
Damn
Damn
CJ.
it,
Fucking
Oh,
CJ.
my God.
Field is out, right? It's been confirmed. Bagent is starting. So, I mean, it's an indoor location. There seems to be a couple Bears fans in that stadium sometimes when the Bears play. I mean, who knows?
Fun
It's
city to go to.
We always
good
lose New Orleans and New Orleans.
Yeah. Couple of things we can talk about. Our run team ranks fairly decent. We're sixth in the league.
Wait, we're sixth, and we fired the running back coach. Fucking interesting, if you tell me.
I mean, we were fifth probably the week prior, so maybe he got fired because we moved
Hey,
from fifth to sixth.
Chris, he was
but-
talking about defense. He wasn't talking about offense.
Oh, I heard running. My bad. Thank you.
If you
Let me
look
just-
at
I'm
the
just gonna go
agenda-
over here. I'm gonna go over here.
Okay. So their defense, their run defense ranks in the middle of the league, 15th best. They do allow the league 7th best, 190 yards passing yards. They have held their opponents to under 20 points in average this season. So it'll be like our running game will probably get a little bit of a breathing room, but our passing game, I think, will be stifled down, which we don't have a lot of anyway. So that'll be the interesting matchup, in my opinion. While we can run on them, I don't think they give up a lot of yards. I don't think any running back has rushed for like 100 yards so far on them. Let's see what else is happening. I think our secondary will be tested because
Okay. Can I just interrupt? Why the fuck should we watch this game? Just a question. Why?
Man,
What's the point?
why are you reading my mind today, Miller? Why are you reading my mind? Listen, like, no offense to Boop and I love hearing you talk stats and everything.
No, we are
I get it.
contractually obligated to watch this game.
Well,
Are
but what
we?
I'm saying, listen. There's not enough Blue Chew in the world to get me hard for this game. Okay, like this is what I'm trying to say. I'm not excited. Like it's a 2-6 team against a 4-4 team that's tied for first in the South. Like we're dog shit. I mean, I don't know what more to say. It's just it is what it is. It's
Like last week we had that Badgent factor, but it's like we all knew he was probably going to come down to earth a little bit. It's okay
crashing.
to watch, but it's messy. I mean, I guess the one thing that we have to go for now is Montez Sweat. You can watch him because he's supposed to play. So maybe we see some impact on that defensive line. Maybe we can get to the quarterback. But it's just fucking depressing watching this defense play lately. Like they can't even touch the quarterback. He just sits back there and throws all the day. And he throws touchdowns after touchdowns after touchdown, dump off, and they just keep running the ball all the way down the field. So it's just depressing watching this team.
Screen.
The bottom line is Derek Carr is on a heater. I mean,
Yes.
before 2 weeks ago, you could say that he was a shitter, but he's turned it up lately. So we'll see if that continues against our defense in the secondary that was consistently praised but has fucking disappointed. But I don't know. I'm just down on this team. The culture, fucking Jalen Carter can't even draft his ass, but culture bullshit. It's fine. I'm struggling to find meaningful ways to watch football because
Yep.
it's like I think we all, although me and Chris have sat here talked highly about Tyson Bagent, I think we realize that he's probably not our future next year.
Yeah.
So that means that we realistically probably don't have a quarterback that we're going to have next year, this year. So it's like, what is the point of watching these?
I will say, and I do want your opinion on this, guys, and then we could probably wrap it up because this game, if what it says, a noon game on Fox.
Thank God.
If Fox can flex the game out and just say Saints win, I'd be okay with that. But this is the point that I want to ask you guys. Is there enough room to see development with Fields if you're a still losing team? If Fields, and I'm talking future. I know we're talking about this game. I get it. I'm kind of changing it. But like assuming we lose, because we're going to talk predictions here in a little bit too, assuming that we lose and we have to go through this whole bullshit again to see if Fields is even ready to play. Are we at the point where we're still waiting to see progress from Fields, or are we out?
I'll start.
I think
I'll start. Damn it.
Okay.
Moving
so,
to this time. It's fine.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say, Chris. Like, yes, I hear you guys. You've been doing these reaction episodes. You've been watching the games closely, and it seems you guys are hurt. I totally hear you guys, right? But Chris, if we don't expect Fields to like show that progression, even if he sucks, it's good. I think it's value knowing that he sucks this year. You know, it may be painful, but there's growth in that pain a little bit. So the expectation is he plays the second half whenever he's healthy and does well. You know, keeps progressing, throws some more passing yard like we have seen him do in a couple of the games. You have to believe that, you know, like otherwise it's tough. But even if he plays and sucks, I think there's value there. We move on from him. So I say yes. Miller, what say you?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Fields adds two elements. One, the fact that he could potentially still be our starter next year. We don't know that we're going to get the number one pick in the draft. We could be stuck there with 3 and 5. And do we really want to trade up for one of these guys? Who knows? We don't know how the draft's going to fall out. But you also have to understand that he could also be trade bait for next year. So, like, we'll come to the offseason. If he does do well, we don't know what Ryan Poles is thinking right now. He could be already like, I'm trading him no matter what happens in the offseason and I'm drafting the quarterback. He could also be, maybe he's doesn't know. He could also be, maybe he's going to keep him. There's a lot of things at play, but the bottom line is Tyson Bagent doesn't give us that intrigue. Justin Fields does. He can still come on the field. He's a valuable starting quarterback in the league. So, like, him not playing and Tyson Bagent playing, like, you have that factor, but it's just like, it's just hard to watch the defensive line prior to this acquisition play the game. And it's just frustrating to watch the defense play the game. It's like we've beaten Hoyer and we've beaten another crap team, the Washington Redskins, that apparently had aspirations. We're not going to get into that. But like, it's just, I don't know. It's just tough to find motivation in this game to watch it, and we all will, with one eye, maybe. But
Hey, red zone, boys. That's how you do it.
oh, I've been living off the red zone lately.
He's, he's where are
I
you?
who?
Hey, talk to me. This is therapy. Come on, talk it
No,
out.
it's not therapy. Listen,
Where did
Miller hit
the
a
Bears hurt you? Where did it hurt you?
Miller.
Where did it?
I mean, they traded one of the goats. They got, or not even traded. They let Trubisky go, but that's that's a different conversation. But I will say, you guys have you guys have turned me a little bit on the fields of what to expect. Miller said a point that I was ready to fight, and I would say I'm kind of tired of Fields, and I would kind of want to keep him healthy for next year to keep his job. But the fact that essentially we're saying trade bait could be something that I could see the Bears interested in doing. My only concern is, and again, I hate talking in this way because it's a future thing. It's, the coach being still here and this poll still here. Like, we're gonna have another transition coach where a quarterback is gonna go through another coach and then another coach. Like, it's like a
No,
new
there
coach,
won't be.
quarterback, new coach, quarterback. So
No, there won't be. This will
I-
be the trend.
this will be
Coach and
the coach quarterback
probably.
marriage.
I mean, even though we didn't touch on this, sorry, just tangent. We didn't touch on this, but Poles came out and he said he gave confidence towards Eberflus and said he still believes in him. Again, it's Chris. This is what you call coach speak, okay? It's bullshit. It better be bullshit because Eberflus better be out. It's fucking.
Chris,
I remember, I can't remember who said it, but I think someone was like, "So is the coach gonna get like let go?" And I think one of the answers, I don't remember what league, I don't remember what sport, but one of the answers is everything's on the table, and that was
Shanahan.
it. Was it Shanahan?
Kyle Shanahan. He said, like, someone was like, "Do you know Garoppolo's gonna play Sunday?" And he's like, "Who knows what's gonna happen? I mean, walk out of here and get hit by a bus or something."
Yeah, or like everything's on the table. Like, that's kind of the answers that I would be like, "Fuck, that's coach talk." But you know what? It's coach talk that's in every media, and then you can then just start speculating. That's perfect. But now that you're kind of questioning cultures, or okay, not questioning, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we can now question cultures because of what we're seeing occur in front of us. What
Yeah.
is at
No.
the stuff that's written in the media is making it worse if you're quoted.
One more positive I'll give you guys is, like, yes, we need to look at Fields or Bajan, whoever our quarterback is, right? Think about Darnell Wright. Think about DJ Moore. Think about Cole Kmet. Like, yes, we need to have a sensible offense, but these people are also being graded and like, reviewed every day on every tape. Same thing with the defense, right? Ngakwe is probably on a 1 year deal, right? But a couple other people might have longer deals. Jalen Johnson, does he need to be renewed? So yes, we need to look like a full team, but there's still elements of the team that we're excited to see. Braxton Jones is probably coming back this week. He was a stud last
No, we
week.
haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't heard that. yet, unless it's on Twitter.
He's eligible to come back.
He's
week,
eligible, but I
there
think we
hasn't been
haven't.
any news about him.
Miller hasn't seen the Twitter news yet, which he follows
Nope.
profusely.
Nope, hasn't been out
Nothing
there.
on that. So we're gonna
Fake news, Boopin. Fake news.
We're gonna start wrapping this up a little bit, but we're gonna give you guys a small preview of what occurred with our predictions. Miller and Boopin were correct. I believe you both said loss. That was gonna occur. I was probably gonna change it to a loss, but beforehand I did keep it as a W, so we'll keep it as a W. But I think you guys can have my back, and I did kind of say, like, we're losing. Like, I can I leave, but I'll still take the L as far as the prediction
I don't know
goes.
why you're talking about predictions at the beginning of the year when we don't have our fucking quarterback, but whatever.
It's fine. We're gonna move forward with this. That now leaves Miller leading the trio of positivity with 5 wins. I am second with 4, and or not wins, but correct predictions. Boopin getting in the back with 3. So now we move to New Orleans. Boopin prediction with an L.
I say 28-17 Saints.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Miller,
Loss.
do you want to give a score or just a loss?
24-13.
24.
Saints.
24-13 Saints. I'm gonna say 34-14 Saints.
I
One
like
thing,
that.
that was very interesting when I was going through the list, because for our listeners, we created the agenda a while back, and I kept the list. Miller put in that Carr improves this team, and Miller, just to kind of bring this back to you, and then we'll wrap it up. Are the Saints where you think they are, like where you thought they would be back then, or do you think they're overachieving or underachieving so far with a 4-4 record?
I think they're well with the 4-4 with the record. I think they are achieving what I thought they would achieve, but like overall, Derek Carr has definitely underperformed. I thought he was going to be better. I thought he was a better quarterback, and Chris Olave hasn't been used enough. But they've been skating by. They've been lucky. They got Ed Kamara back, which was a big move. They got him. They got Chris Olave, who's a stud wide receiver, and they got Michael Thomas. So they got the weapons. But overall, I think that team's a little underachieving. But 4-4 is about the record that I thought they would be. I just thought they would be a little more dynamic.
And
Yeah.
Boopin, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so they're leading the division, right? That's at some
No, they're
point.
tied. They're tied.
Yeah, so they're tied for division lead. But what I want to say, you guys ready for this? The Saints were who we thought they were, or what it is. The Saints were exactly who we thought they were. That's all I had to say.
I don't get the
I don't
reference.
get it either. I don't
get it.
get
All right.
either.
Hang on,
Boopin.
that Arizona coach that like hated
Well,
the
I
fans
know
and
where
didn't-
it's
We
from,
know where
Boopin.
that's coming
I don't
from, but
get
like
the
we don't know
point.
why you decided to use it. But hey, let's go ahead and get us out of here, Boopin.
All right. Thank you for listening to us today, people. Hope you had some fun. Hope we brought some positivity into your life. You know, we like doing this, so keep those feedback coming. That's how we grow together. Maybe someday in the near future, we'll bring some positivity into your life. But until then, we'll suffer in this misery together. Thanks again for listening to us. On that positive note, have a great night.